Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So this week we have this funny looking contraption in for a repair. Yeah, so this is a post knocker. So it goes on the back of your tractor on your 3-point linkage, and then you plug in your hydraulics, and yeah, it does what it says really. It knocks posts in, fence posts. But yeah, it's a bit more complicated than that. There is quite a bit to it. So yeah, on your headstock you have a ram here that moves the whole lot one way or the other. Then on here you have a ram that alters what angle that's at. And you have a ram on there that pushes that foot out. Not really sure what that's for. I've never used one myself. And on this side it has another ram there to alter how much it leans that way. And then there's a ram on there that pushes that out, like telescopics out. There's a ram on here for, I think that's a rock spike. I think that swings round. And there's a big long spike that goes in there for if you go in stony ground. I'm not sure whether that ram is for pushing the spike in or whether you knock it in with a weight. Not sure, well, that's what that's for. And then you have another ram in there that works the mechanism that lifts the weight up and down. So the way it knocks posts in is this big weight here. Yeah, that lifts up to the top of there, and then it drops down with gravity onto that plate, and you sit that plate on top of your post, and then it like hammers your post into the ground. And then that ram that's in there pushes that lever so it comes down like that, pulls on the rope, lifts the weight up, and then releases it and drops it down. So that's how that works pretty much. The problem with it is, if you look in here where this pivot is, you can see at one end and the other end is bigger than what it is in the middle. So all that's worn out, and then it started to stretch the tube, the pivot where the pin goes through. So I'm not quite sure why that's happened, whether it's lack of grease or just the movement of it all and the force on it, not sure. But yeah, we need to try and separate this bit from the rest of it, and then we can get to that pivot. The only trouble with it having so many rams is there's a lot of pipes and rams to disconnect before I can start taking it in bits. But I'll put it in this way in the workshop so I can hold it with my forklift. I've got the time through that box on the headstock, so it's not going to fall over, and then I can bring the JCB in and grab it, put a strap around the top there and grab it with the JCB, and then lift this bit away from that bit. So yeah, I'll start by taking some of these rams off. The ones that I can leave connected up, I will do. I'll just take the pipes out, the pins out, and take the ram off, leave the pipes on. And then some of them I'll have to take the pipes off and leave the ram on. Like that, that'll be a heavy lump to take off. got that bit separated from there then, and it's not actually worn through the bush, it's just stretched a bit of metal by the look of it. So I'll take that bit outside, get it laid down so it's safe, and then we'll clean this up and give it a better inspection and see why it's done that. Right, so we've got them bushes knocked out. Yeah, you can see how badly splayed open it is at either end. It's not actually split it, it's just stretched it. And it's not worn through the bushes. So it's not like a grease that's been the problem, it's just not been made strong enough. You can see in there the seam of the tube, so it's just been a bit of like standard size tube that they've welded on. So yeah, it's just whether it's a weak point on them in general, or whether it's just been abuse that's done that, I'm not sure. But yeah, it doesn't look very strong just looking at it, so yeah, a bit poor is that. So I think I'll have to replace this bit of tube, so I'll have to gouge down there, probably use arc air rods, carbon arc gouge down there, around there, get rid of that, and then decide what to do from there. Right, so yeah, we'll get this gouged off then. Every time I use this arc air gouger, carbon arc gouger, whatever you want to call it, I always get asked what power source I use. I have said in a previous video, but yeah, I just use my normal Tech Arc MIG welder, and I just put it in stick welding mode, and then yeah, just use that. So you have to put it in constant current instead of constant voltage. I think that's what they stand for. And then just put it in MMA mode, and then we're right to go. And the power cable just plugs in the back of the welder where your power cable would normally plug in, that goes off to the box, to that, and then just your earth cable as normal. So it is pretty harsh on your welder using it for gouging, but I did check with Tech Arc first and they said it's good for it. So if you're going to use your welder, just check that it's appropriate for it first. I'm going to use these, which are like 6.5mm rods. I haven't got any big ones left, but they should be more suitable anyway, just to blast that away and then underneath around there. Well, so I've got that bit of tube removed and I've got it cleaned up with a grinder. So it is pretty lightweight, is that? And I've bored it out a little bit to fit a bush in, but it's just, yeah, too light, too thin a wall. When you measure across there on the good bit, that only measures 60mm, but this gap in here measures 65mm. So if I can make a new bit at 65mm, then I'll have an extra 2.5mm either side of wall thickness. So yeah, I haven't got any tube, so I'll have to make a bit out of some solid round bar. So it's 195mm long, and then I'll have to use some 75mm round bar because I haven't got anything any smaller. I haven't got any 65mm, and then turn it down 65 and then bore it through and ream it out to 50mm. I think that would have been for them bushes. And then I'll have to see if I can either source some new ones off Protech. It's a Protech post knocker. What I could do is get them this week. So see if I can get some off them, or see if I can make some myself. Right, so we're going to use that bit of round bar. So I just need to drill it out and then ream it through. But it don't quite fit under there because it's 75mm or 3" rather than 60mm. So I think I'll mill the sides off so it should fit in there, and then maybe have to grind that out a little bit so it sits a bit lower, so it sits where it should do. And then it's still got the thickness, a lot more thickness around the top and bottom than what it did do originally. Then it'll have 10mm wall rather than like a 5mm wall like that original bit was. So yeah, I'll get this put in the lathe. Right, so I've got that bit bored out to 50mm, and then I've just turned it down a bit to clean it up. I've just scored it a little bit, but be alright. So yeah, that'll sit on there, and then I was going to mill a bit off the sides, but I think what I might do is chop a slice off the top of here, because that's where it's touching at the moment, and that'll lower it down a little bit, and then mill a bit off if need be. So I want to get the pin centre back down to sort of similar to where it was. Won't matter if it's a couple of mil difference, but if it's too far out, then the ram, well, it should be fine, but I just want to get the pin centre as close to what it would have been originally, but without weakening this at all. Right, that fits pretty snug in there now. Now I've chopped them bits off. So yeah, I think we'll weld that on now. Still a grease nipple to drill in there, but I'll do that once I've got it welded on, I think. Right, so we've got that welded on underneath either end, and then down that side. So I have to wait for that to cool down, and then I'll drill, tap a hole for the grease nipple, and then I can't do much more with that until the bushes come. I've ordered them this morning, so that is now like 12.4mm wall thickness rather than like the 5 that was. So is a lot stronger. That's how it should be from new, but they've just used a bit of standard size tube, and then they have actually bored a little bit out either end to fit the bushing. I suppose doing it that way is a lot cheaper than it is having to machine a bit like that, but it's just not strong enough. I've just noticed as well, when you look down here, these bits here don't point in the same direction as the rest of the frame. They're pointing over that way. When I welded this on, I just welded it straight with this side piece, but when you look, it doesn't look like it's pointing. So I've just given that bottom tube a clean up as well, and that's starting to bulge, stretch as well. So I'll have to speak to the customer and see if he wants me to do anything with that. What I'd do with them if I was going to do that is I'd just chop them off there and then just make the same as that, but that wide, and weld it round, because it'd be a big job trying to chop all that lot out. But I don't really need to chop that middle out because the bush is only at either end. Right, that's that done, painted, put a grease nipple hole in it. I just need to put a grease nipple in actually. Recycle old grease nipple. So I just spoke to a customer about the bottom one. He says, yeah, sort that as well, so we'll do that. That shouldn't take as much doing. So whip that pin out and check this bit out. yeah, so it's starting to stretch that out, and that hole is not round anymore. So it wouldn't be long before that got to the same state as what that top one was. So I'll just chop them off like that, and then make some new ones of them and weld them on. Right, I've got them chopped off, and the bushes knocked out, so the bushes are fine. That one is a little bit out of shape, but I'm hoping, where's that one? That one's a little bit out of shape. I'm hoping that'll go again once it's knocked back into something that's properly round. You can see that's not round anymore. Just too thin. I know I keep saying it, but it's too thin. The ones that the pin goes through are nice and thick. Obviously they're not bored out to have a bush to go into them. So yeah, I'll get 2 more bits machined up like that. I haven't ground all that weld off because I sort of wanted some of that weld left to hold it all together, and then I put my new bits on and then weld over the top of that, and then there's still some weld holding this bit to that bit, even though it is welded around the inside as well. That's in the lathe ready to drill through. So what I was doing, or what I did with the last one, centered it first with a center, and then I went straight through with a 1.15", which is like 49.8, something like that, and then through with a 50mm reamer to ream it out to 50mm. So we'll do exactly the same process with this bit. Drill through it first, and then I'll turn the outside down just so it's sort of smooth, clean it up, turn it around, do the same on the other side, and then put a leading edge on it and countersink either end, and then we'll use a parting tool to chop it in half. I just wanted to say thanks to Mike as well for sending me some more anchor lube. So he watches the channel. Every time he sees that I'm low, he sends me some more. He sells it on eBay, so if you want any, I'll put the eBay link in the description. He started doing these big bottles as well now. The last one he sent me was like a tub with a brush. And he does some littler bottles, and now he does these big bottles. So yeah, it's good stuff. So with stuff like this, I start off with this, and then you can't really get to the end of the drill with it when it's drilling through a bit of steel like that. So then I use my squirty bottle with cutting fluid in it to keep it cool when it's further in. Right, so that's then made as well now. So we'll try and put these bushes in. Hopefully that one will go again, and then I have to put the pin through, and then I maybe have to put that back in there, and maybe put the pin through for the ram to get it lined up, and then I'll have to sort of sight it up and get it trued up best I can, tack them on, and then I'll probably have to knock the bushes out again to weld them on, otherwise I'll end up melting the bushes. Right, so I've got them tacked on there now. So I tacked that one on first, looked down it and sort of centralised it with the old tube, put it together, put the pin through, and then I put the pin through for the ram. So that's looking in a better direction now than it was. And then tack the second one on. So I'll put a few more tacks around them. I'll take the pin back out again, take that out, knock the bushes out, and then we'll weld around them. The grease nipple for there is in the middle, so I don't need to drill anything for that one. So once we've got them welded round, that's that sorted. I just need to wait for them bushes to come. They should be coming today. Right, that's them welded round. It's had a bit of time to cool down now. Still a little bit hot. But I'll give that a clean up, some brake cleaner, and then spray that red oxide, and then put the bushes back in. And then we can put these back together. And so I just need to wait for them bushes. So I've had quite a few comments asking whether the roof insulation has made any difference, and yes, definitely. But it stopped the condensation dripping down, which was sort of the main reason I did it. And if I have the heater going, it is definitely warmer. It's like 4 or 5 degrees warmer in here than it is outside. I haven't got the heater going today, but obviously it's never going to be that warm because the sides are not insulated and it's quite a big area to heat. Like, you can see the tins, the second-hand tins, you can see the holes in them. So it is still a cold shed, but it is definitely a lot better than it was. I still have to have my coat. If the heat has been running, I still have to have my coat on, but it's nearly sort of between too warm to have your coat on, but not warm enough to not have your coat on. Or well, I have like this body warmer underneath my coat, and it's like I don't need my body warmer on if the heat is going. So yeah, definitely worth doing. Well, it's definitely worth doing just to stop the condensation, but for the extra warmth as well. Just need to get a big like ceiling fan to blow some of the warm air back down again. Right, so these new bushes have arrived now. So I got these directly off Protech. They came next day, so that's good. Well, the old ones look a lot bigger because they've stretched. But yeah, these are 50mm OD, 40mm ID. So I'll get them put in there, and then we can start putting it back together. Yeah. Just put that together now.
Yeah.
Right, that's them bushes knocked in as well then. So they were a bit tight, pin was a bit tight, so I've gone through with a 40mm reamer. Now the pin is alright. Taking that grease nipple back off again, just in case I knock it when I put it back together. So yeah, I'll go and bring the load around now with the other half, and then we'll offer it up, try and get it back lined up and put it all back together again. Right, so that's the main pin in. So we've just got all these rams to put back on now. So if I can remember which pin goes where. I think there were bolts through there, and then yeah, well, I can look back at the video anyway. It's a good thing about videoing is you can just look back if you forget. Right, that's all that back together. All the pins are in, all the pipes are back on. Yeah, that's that bit sorted. So there is another problem that the customer wanted me to sort out. It's this stop thing here for the rock spike. So it's got bent and it's pulled like the bolt holes out. And then it looks like they've tried repairing it with some repair washers that are not thick enough. I'm not quite sure. It must have got bent if you pull the wrong lever, or you pull the lever the wrong way and it pushes it down. When it's still sat on there, it must bend it. I think. I'm not entirely sure how that's happened. But anyway, we'll take that off, see what we can do with it. Whether it needs a new plate. See, the box is bent as well, but I haven't got any box section that size, that's that thickness. So, see what we can do with that. Go on. Okay, Right, we've got that plate off and it's just pulled the bolts out. There's just not enough meat around the outside. So I'll plasma, there's bloody grease everywhere on this thing. I'll plasma a new plate out with more metal around the holes, and then I think I'll chop that box off, see if I can bend it straight again, because I haven't got anything to replace it with. Yeah, and then weld it back onto a new plate. And with these bits, I think they'll just knock back in again. And then I'll plasma some thicker, bigger washers out as well. Right, so I've got a plate drawn up. I've given it some extra meat around there. And then we're going to cut that out at 12mm instead of 10mm. So I've got a bit of 150 by 12 flat bar I can get it out of. So that's that cut out. We'll get this chopped off here now. So it's 55mm off there and 75mm off there when I weld it back on again. Right, so we've got that chopped off. I've got it set in the press now, ready to set up, but when we had a fire it burnt all the pipes out on the press, so I just have to use that big bottle jack. I keep meaning to get a better press, or a bigger press bought, but I haven't got around to it yet. Right, we've got that straightened out. It's not straightened out too bad. It's about on the limit of what I could do with that press because it was bending the frame. But yeah, we'll get that welded back on there, and then I'll do that. Right, so that's that welded round. So yeah, just I'll plasma out some bigger washers now. Any what?
M10 bolts, you know, just something that's 2 inch and a half long. No?
I think I have, no. Right, so I've got that plate painted and got some washers cut out and then it bolted back on again. So the plate should be stronger. Ideally that wanted a bit of round bar or something, knocking through it and then welding around to make it stronger, but I think that's maybe operator error why it's got bent. But it's not sat properly on it at the moment. There's like that bit of stub there that's supposed to go inside that box section there to stop it swinging about, but I didn't fancy plugging it into a tractor just to lift that ram up. So next time they come to use it, when it's on the tractor, that just wants lifting up and then putting onto there. It's on slotted holes, it maybe wants adjusting a little bit to where it needs to be, but the customer can do that. I warm them lugs up and then braid them back with a hammer to get them square again. Ideally it wanted that plate chopping off and a new one making a stronger one, but it's fairly well welded on. Look at the undercut on that weld. It's welded all the way around underneath, so it'd take quite a lot of chopping off. But yeah, I think that's all there was to do with it. So that should be considerably stronger than it was. Bottom one as well. So yeah, that's that done and sorted. Take that back out again now. So yeah, that's that post knocker done. Hopefully it should be a lot stronger than it was originally. Just wasn't strong enough. But yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone. Well, thanks to everyone for watching, and also thanks to everyone that comments and likes the video. It really helps the channel. I do read every single comment pretty much. There might be a few I miss. And I try to like as many of them as I can as well. But there was 358 comments on last week's video, which is great. And nearly all of them are nice comments. And I see a lot of you comment on every video, so it feels like we've got a real good community of people watching and supporting me. So yeah, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you next time.